What event sparked the cataclysmic conflict known as the Second World War? A question that takes us back to the late 1930s, a time when Europe was on a precipice. The political climate was a volatile mix of fear, uncertainty, and the rise of totalitarian regimes with Germany and Italy at the helm. Across Germany, a wave of nationalism was sweeping the nation, fueled by a charismatic leader with a vision of a new German empire. Adolf Hitler, with his fiery speeches and promises of regained glory, managed to consolidate power, transforming the Weimar Republic into the totalitarian Third Reich. Parallelly, in Italy, Benito Mussolini was wielding his own brand of fascism. He sought to recreate the Roman Empire, drawing on a potent blend of nationalism and militarism, which resonated with many Italians, still smarting from the perceived injustices of the Treaty of Versailles. But it was a secret pact that truly set the stage for the conflict. In August of 1939, two seemingly unlikely allies, Germany and the Soviet Union, signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. This was a non-aggression treaty, a promise of peace between two powerful nations. But hidden within its clauses was a secret protocol, a plan to divide Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. With this pact, the die was cast. The balance of power had shifted. Germany was now free to pursue its territorial ambitions without fear of Soviet interference. The stage was set, the players ready, and the world unknowingly on the brink of an immense conflict. On September 1st, 1939, the world watched in shocked silence as German forces stormed into Poland. The invasion was swift, brutal, and relentless. Germany, under the command of Adolf Hitler, had unleashed a new form of warfare upon the world: Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. Blitzkrieg was a military tactic designed to create disorganization among enemy forces through the use of mobile forces and locally concentrated firepower. It was a strategy of surprise, speed, and encirclement. The Polish forces, caught off guard and ill-prepared, were quickly overwhelmed. Simultaneously, the skies over Poland roared with the engines of the Luftwaffe, Germany's air force. Like a swarm of deadly hornets, they bombarded Polish cities and military installations, leaving destruction and chaos in their wake. The use of air power in conjunction with ground forces was a key component of the Blitzkrieg tactic. But while the Polish people fought bravely against the invading forces, their resistance was ultimately futile. With each passing day, more of their homeland fell into the hands of the Germans, and what of the rest of the world? Well, the response was, to say the least, disappointing. The League of Nations, the international body established after the First World War to maintain world peace, proved utterly impotent. They condemned the invasion, of course, but words are wind, and wind cannot stop a storm. The sad truth is, many nations were simply unwilling or unprepared to confront the growing menace of Nazi Germany. They had watched as Hitler violated the Treaty of Versailles by remilitarizing the Rhineland, annexing Austria, and occupying the Sudetenland. Yet they had done little more than wring their hands in dismay. But the invasion of Poland was different. It was not merely an act of aggression, it was a flagrant disregard for international law and the sovereignty of nations. It was a challenge to the world order. Invasion was not merely an act of aggression, it was the fuse that would ignite the Second World War. As if the German invasion wasn't harrowing enough, Poland faced another enemy from the east. The weight of the world seemed to press down on the Polish people as, on the 17th of September, 1939, the Soviet Union launched an invasion from the east. The Soviets, under the leadership of Joseph Stalin, had a secret ace up their sleeves. Unbeknownst to the world, and indeed to Poland, they had struck a secret deal with Germany, known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. This pact included a secret protocol, a backroom agreement, to carve up Poland between the two powers. The Soviets justified their invasion by claiming they were protecting the Belarusian and Ukrainian populations in Poland. This was a thinly veiled excuse to extend their sphere of influence and gain a strategic foothold in Europe. The two-pronged invasion from both Germany and the Soviet Union placed Poland in an untenable situation. The Polish forces, already strained by the Western onslaught, were stretched to breaking point. They found themselves fighting a war on two fronts, a scenario no country would wish to endure. The Soviet invasion was swift and brutal. The Red Army, with its overwhelming numbers and superior firepower, swept through eastern Poland with little resistance. The Polish forces, hopelessly outnumbered and outgunned, were unable to mount an effective defense. The Soviet Union's invasion had a profound impact on Poland's ability to resist. It effectively sealed Poland's fate, leaving the country helpless against the combined might of two of the world's most powerful military forces. The Polish people, caught in the crossfire, could only look on in despair as their country was torn apart. This scene of devastation and despair was not confined to Poland. The Soviet-German pact and the subsequent invasion sent shockwaves across Europe. It was a chilling reminder of the lengths to which nations would go to achieve their ambitions. Betrayed and overwhelmed, Poland fell to the invaders, a grim foreshadowing of what was to unfold across Europe. While Poland struggled, the rest of the world was forced to confront the reality of German aggression. In the halls of London and Paris, the echoes of diplomacy turned into resounding declarations of war. The United Kingdom and France, having signed a pact of mutual assistance with Poland, were honor-bound to intervene. On September 3, 1939, just 2 days after the invasion of Poland had begun, both countries declared war on Germany. This marked the end of appeasement, the policy of making concessions to Hitler in hopes of avoiding war. The game of diplomacy was over. The era of warfare had begun. Across the pond, the United States watched with bated breath. President Franklin D. Roosevelt had been trying to keep America out of the conflict, maintaining a stance of neutrality. The scars of the Great War were still fresh in the minds of the American people, and the prospect of another global conflict was daunting. Yet, Roosevelt also understood the potential dangers posed by unchecked Nazi aggression. As he navigated a fine line between non-intervention and preparation for potential involvement, the United States began its transformation from a distant observer to an eventual key player in the war. The world had awoken to a new era of warfare, and there was no turning back. The invasion of Poland marked the beginning of a world at war. As the dust settled, the grim aftermath unveiled itself in stark, chilling clarity. The invasion had left an indelible mark on Poland and beyond, setting the stage for the catastrophic events that were to follow. The immediate ramifications were devastating. Poland was carved up between Germany and the Soviet Union, its sovereignty obliterated. Millions of Poles were displaced, their lives uprooted in a matter of weeks. The invasion set in motion one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Holocaust. In the ensuing years, millions of Jews, Poles, and other minorities were systematically persecuted and murdered. In addition to the human suffering, the invasion reshaped the global power dynamics. It marked the beginning of Germany's aggressive expansion under Hitler, setting the tone for the rest of the war. The rest of the world watched in horror and disbelief as the aggression unfolded, their delayed reactions contributing to the escalation of the conflict. The invasion of Poland was not just a military operation. It was a chilling precursor to the horrors of the Second World War, an event that would redefine the global landscape. It was a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked aggression and the devastating consequences of global inaction. From the ashes of Poland's invasion, a new world order emerged, forever changing the course of human history.